Hi Capricorn, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your mid-April 2025 love reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's what I call the bridging the gap spread, and the way it works is a look at the past, present, future energies between you and your main love interest. Once we get through all that, we'll pull some oracle cards as well for some additional insight, and after the bridging the gap dynamic comes into play. As far as the decks being used, on the left side we have the Lover's Path Tarot, on the right side we have the Romantic Tarot. And also keep in mind it's a general reading, so I'm going to convey turns and the cards on the left is the energy and the cards on the right is the other person's. If you feel like it's the other way around in your situation, then definitely trust that. Alright, so fold out of the way, we'll get started. Past energy on your side, we have the Two of Coins. So this is actually a Capricorn energy here. And if we look at the two coins, we see one has a red heart and the other one almost has an icy type of tone to it. So it could just be saying that with this person, you might have found that your feelings were constantly running hot and cold. Maybe possibly because some of you weren't sure if you could take this person seriously or not. But yeah, that's what I see with that. Alright, past energy on their side, we have the Five of Pentacles. So Five of Pentacles usually points to going through a bit of a rough time together, but here we see it's a much lighter energy, right? So on the one hand, that could be definitely a good thing, right? If you're going through hard times, to just take a light, playful approach. But for some of you, maybe you felt like that was a little bit overboard to an extent with this person, right? To where, like I said again, I was getting that feeling that in the past you might have felt like you couldn't necessarily take them seriously. So you might feel like when there are times when they really do need to take a more serious approach to things, they might be a bit more flippant about how they approach things. Alright, present energy on your side, we have the Prince of Staves. So this is actually a Sagittarius energy here. And if we look at the artwork, the body language, right, back turned to the cards on the side, could just be saying that some of you might be considering leaving the connection behind. But I do have to say, this seems like it's just more of something that's in your mind at this time, not necessarily something that you're physically going to actually do. Alright, present energy on their side, we have the Three of Wands. So if we look at the artwork here, we see the person with multiple people around them giving them attention, right? So it could ultimately just be saying that again, maybe this goes back to where you feel like you just can't necessarily take this person seriously, right? To where it's like, okay, if you feel like you were going to move toward a committed relationship with this person, you're not sure that seems like something that they would be capable of doing. So you could have your doubts as to whether you should just cut your losses or give it a little bit more time. All right, future energy on your side, we have the Five of Staves. So this is Leo energy here, and this could just say ultimately it's going to get to that point where you will address it with this person, right? So all of the issues that you might have with this connection and this person at this time, I feel like it's going to say that ultimately this will come out. This might not come out in the healthiest way, right? So it might become a bit of an argument, things along those lines there. So just something to watch out for there. Right, and future energy on their side, we have the Queen of Swords. So if we look at the artwork here, we see a bunch of swords above and behind them on the throne. So it could just be saying, to me, that makes me think of the Nine of Swords energy, which could just be saying that ultimately they might just feel overwhelmed, right? So that could be where this escapist tendency of theirs might come from, right? Where if they just feel like they have so many other things going on that they can't really take on anything else. And with the arrow down at their feet there, pointed in the direction of your cards, could just be saying that they might want to communicate that to you, but they might struggle doing so. All right, bottom of the deck on your side, we have the Nine of Arrows, Gemini energy here, and if we look at the artwork there, we even see what looks like an angelic figure extending an arrow there, which the arrows represent communication in this context, and we see the other arrows all pointing in the direction of the cards on this side. So it could ultimately just be saying that this could be along the lines of what we were talking about with the Five of Staves energy, right? Where I feel like this is saying that if there are these issues that you do see with the connection, you you might be getting signs and synchronicities telling you to address it as soon as you can, right? Rather than let it build up until it eventually becomes this big conflict. So if you do feel those signs and synchronicities, that could ultimately be why it's telling you to do that, right? Like, hey, just bring these things up now before it just bubbles up beneath the surface and becomes an even bigger issue. Right. And bottom of the deck on their side, we have the Queen of Pentacles. So this is actually a Capricorn energy here. So on the one hand, it could just be, real surface level to say that, oh, maybe they're just thinking about you a lot, right? Given that this came up on their side. For others of you, this could even just be saying that maybe this is more your energy and this is the other person on the left. But what I'm really getting with this could just be saying that this might be how they view you, right? They might view you as someone who really has it all together, right? And if they feel like ultimately they don't have everything all together, or like I said, maybe they're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, like they just have a lot on their plate, which could be why they have those escapist tendencies, then maybe that's part of what's making it difficult for them as well, to where they're like, okay, well, it seems like Capricorn has it all together, but, they might feel like they're behind in that regard. All right, moving on to the Oracle cards. First, we'll see what we get from the Messages of Love Oracle card deck. I'm just going to give this a few shuffles. All right, and what I'm going to do now is I'll actually cut the deck and pull a card. Take this one. And next, I'll do the same thing with the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. So I'm going to give this a few shuffles now. And I'll put this deck down, and basically we'll do the same thing. We'll just pull a card, take this one here, and we'll take a look at that Messages of Love card first. All right, we have Denial. It says, detach with love to clearly see the truth. So yeah, definitely an interesting message there, right? Because like we were saying, there might be that part of you that's not sure if you can necessarily take this person seriously, right? And like I said, it looks like there's a part of you that might want to leave the connection behind, but could just be saying that you might need to look at the reality of the situation, right? So for some of you, that might ultimately mean that maybe the two of you aren't compatible, right? Because if you feel like, okay, I can't take this person seriously, and they're just in these, exploring these escapist tendencies, then that could be obviously a deal breaker for some of you. But if nothing else, I feel like doing so, as far as this goes, might actually help you address these issues with them in a healthier manner too, though, which could eventually avoid a bigger conflict. But we'll see what we get from Wisdom Oracle. All right, yep, we have Chaos and Conflict. There's the artwork. The number is 33. So yeah, so this definitely seems to point to what we were talking about with the 5 of Staves in the future, but we'll see what it says in the book. All right, the relationship message says, stubbornness is keeping you in a state of opposition. The incessant need to be right will only serve to prolong the conflict that deep down you want to be resolved. This is an opportune moment to learn about your values, your sense of self, and what's really important to you. Some things are non-negotiable. If that's true, it's not necessary to fight. Can you find a way through the stormy emotions to higher ground? Soon the air will clear, and you will be in a much better place than before, for the storm will have passed, blazing a path for new growth in its wake. Things can become electric and enlightened, always better than before, if you use this time constructively. So yeah, the takeaway that I get from that message really is to say that combine that with, detach with love to see the truth. And like I said, if you're getting these signs and synchronicities nudging you to address these things with this person, I feel like this is saying, ultimately you might need to bring these things up, right? But the longer you just let it fester, it could become an even bigger conflict. And ultimately, yeah, even if you do bring these things up, it's no guarantee that they'll just fall in line and things will be perfect. But at least you'll have a better understanding of each other and can figure out what you want to do from there. So hope whatever resonates with you guys will wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.